Will you answer the door?
No way, I've got a huge boner.
This is going to be my new excuse for getting out of everything. Hey guys, it's time for another episode of Damien Ruins Horror Movies. Tonight's episode is The Ice Cream Truck. And this episode is brought to you by Cool Dude Inc. Click the link in the notes and go make yourself look good. But let's start it off with the Whiskey Bats, who you can find on Spotify, iTunes, and visit their YouTube channel. There's a link in the notes. This film was directed by Mary Friels Johnson, and I think if 10 people walked into this movie together and sat down and watched it, you would have 10 different reactions. Or they would all be like, what the fuck? But as far as like trying to explain this movie, which I'm going to attempt to do, it's just so inconclusive, but I still like it. And the main thing I like about it, because it's done well, the production is good, the score is good, everything looks good, the story is just kind of like missing stuff. But the main thing I like about it is it really captures that feeling of the beginning of summer. The way everything looks in this movie, I totally feel like it's the beginning of June or the end of May. Mary walks out of her house and she sees an ice cream truck surrounded by kids. And it looks like she just woke up. So it makes me wonder, like, did she sleep in late, or does this ice cream truck just come very early? And through a conversation with her nosy neighbor Jessica, we get to fully meet Mary. She's just moved in. She's got two kids, one 5 and one 13. The eldest is from a previous relationship, and they're both in Seattle finishing up school, and then they're going to meet her out here. And Mary is a writer. Not like a real writer, but you know, like a blogger. When she's inside, a creepy furniture guy shows up to deliver her furniture, and for some reason, she decides that now is the good time to go into her room and change her shirt. And then he walks in on her and she treats him like he's the asshole. It's like, hey, you could have done that in a locked room, or you could have done it after he left. Jessica, the nosy neighbor, shows up with two friends, and they invite her to one of her friends' graduation party. Her son Max has graduated, and they're having a party for him that night. And it's funny because this movie's all about the suburbs, but these women look like they're from like Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And they're very like kind of like friendly, but kind of stuck up too. That night, Mary goes over to the graduation party, and on the way, she meets Max, who looks every bit of 25, and he's with his girlfriend, and they're like, oh yeah, my house, my graduation party is that way, but do you want to get high?
You want to get high?
And she's like, okay, just kind of weird. While they get high, they talk a little bit, and Mary asks Tracy, she's like, hey, do you have Mr. whatever his name is, her English teacher? And she's like, oh yeah, I have him. She's like, you should tell him that Mary, whatever her last name is, says hello. And I'm kind of like, when? It's a graduation. She graduated. She's not going to see her English teacher anymore, just like you don't see your English teacher anymore. Mary gets to the party, and Max gets to the party a little later, but Tracy doesn't want to go back. She's a little too high, and she's walking, and she sees the ice cream truck, which is weird because it's dark. It's the beginning of summer, so it's got to be like 10 o'clock. Like, what are the hours of this guy? Like, he's been on the road at least 12 hours in the same neighborhood, just like going in circles. And she goes up to him, and she's like, hey, what kind of ice cream you got? He's like, hey, I got everything. She's like, oh, what can I get? She asked for something. He's like, I don't have that. And he's just kind of like, well, correction, I don't have shit.
What'll it be?
What do you have?
Oh, we got it all.
Do you have Nestle French fries?
I'm afraid not.
But it doesn't matter if he has what she wants or not, because she goes into his van, which is funny. This movie's called The Ice Cream Truck. Motherfucker drives a van. And he slashes her throat. The van drives away with Tracy's corpse inside. And back at the party, we hear a song saying sherbet, sherbet, sherbet. It's not pronounced sherbet. It's sherbet. There's one R, and it's at the beginning of the word. There's not two R's, okay? It annoys me when people say, I'll have some sherbet. What the fuck is sherbet? Mary goes home and pulls an old cigarette out of a drawer, which is weird because, like, she's in the process of moving in. Her furniture's not even there, but the junk drawer looks like she's lived there at least a year. Like, who unpacks the junk drawer first? It's like the box labeled junk drawer. Don't lose that one. Put that one in the front seat so we can get that in the house immediately. In the morning, Mary goes for a jog, and she finds Tracy's hairpin on the ground. And then she runs into Max's mom. Everyone in this movie is fucking weird. It's like everybody's a little bit off. Like nothing you can really pinpoint. You just get this weird vibe like, why is everybody in this movie so weird? Almost like everybody's got a secret, but nobody really does. The ice cream man kills one of Max's friend Nick. He kills him and Nick's girlfriend. And then he uses her bathroom. And that's pretty much the only, spoiler alert, that's pretty much the only kills in this movie. It's these three, which I'll get to a little later. So the next night, Max sends Mary a text message asking what she's doing. She says nothing. He says, why don't you meet me at the park? At first she's hesitant, but then she's like, I'll go. It's one more day before my family gets here. And she puts on her clothes from like when she was a teenager, which why does she still have those? And she even, it's weird, she puts Tracy's hairpin in. And then she takes off her wedding ring and heads out the door. On the way to the park, she's stalked by the ice cream man who's following her around. She finally sees Max, and the ice cream man stops and asks if they would like some ice cream. And she says, yeah, she'll have a milkshake. And he makes her the milkshake.
You kids be good now, you hear?
And then he leaves without even charging her. Score! And she and Max get high and start making out. And then they have sex. All she had to do was make it one more day without cheating on her husband or getting killed. And then her family would be there. But then the ice cream man shows up and he attacks them. And he stabs Max in the hand. I don't remember if he killed Max or not. But Mary runs to the ice cream van. And he calls her a whore, so she hits him in the face with something. Then she drills him in the head with like the milkshake maker. Would that even work? And she walks back home while the ice cream truck plays kind of warped ice cream truck music. Even though there's nothing actually wrong with the truck. It's just showing that the ice cream man is dead. The next day, Mary's family arrive. And they're all saying hello and catching up. And Max and Tracy come walking by. And like, what the fuck? Why are they alive? I know Tracy died. But now they're suddenly alive. And Mary and her family go inside. And we're panning out. The movie's over, but in the distance, out the kitchen window, you can see the moving truck guy standing outside, watching the house. The end. First of all, Mary is here away from her family to catch up on writing. She's looking for inspiration. She doesn't write a damn word in this whole film, and occasionally it shows her with her laptop open, but the screen is not even on. But here's what I think. Here's what I think this movie was trying to do. I think the ice cream man was like her inner conscience. All the stuff she wanted to do. Like first he kills Tracy, and for her it's like, oh, I like Max. But he has a girlfriend, so she kills Tracy. And then Nick and his girlfriend, she kills them because he ditched out on yard work. And like, every time her and Max do hang out, they're high. So what if she's just at home getting high and just imagining this? I'm imagining she just wrote this whole story. This is a made-up story based on actual shit in her neighborhood. And she's like living vicariously through this story that she's writing about what she'd like to do. About how she wanted the hot guy in high school, but she got knocked up. And so high school was kind of ruined for her. She didn't get to have all the fun she wanted. Because she's mentioned several times that her 13-year-old she had pretty young. So now she's basically having a midlife crisis, fantasizing about the stud in high school she wanted to hook up with, but she couldn't. And I actually read that they were making a sequel to this called like The Furniture Truck. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. Is it going to be Mary again? This time she's fantasizing about something else. The Badass Award goes to Mary, but does it? Sure, she killed the ice cream man without hesitation, but he was just a figment of her imagination, it seems, which justifies such a quick ending and lack of any kind of character development of said ice cream man. What did we learn? Survival tales.
Don't go into strange people's vans. If your doorbell rings and there's nobody there, don't investigate. Don't have unprotected sex.